to the Ironcast podcast. Today we have Jesse Muller.
How does it going?
Jesse Muller is a husband and a expecting father, and an electrician. Jesse, how long have you been an electrician?
I have been doing it for about 2.5 years now.
How do you like it?
I love it. Honestly, I really love it.
Jesse, you and I share a bit of a history.
We do a little bit.
We are both cancer survivors.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit of your story of cancer?
Yeah, it's a cool shared experience. One I wish we didn't have to share, but yeah. So my story with it is I was diagnosed when I was 19 back in Ohio. So I'm a transplant to the state. I moved here in 2018. In 2014, I had graduated high school, Centerville High School, go Elks. And I was getting ready to go on my mission, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, getting ready to do all that, gearing up. And the way I kind of describe it is I had to go on my mission on September. I was scheduled to be there September 10th. And 2 weeks before-ish, 2.5, I was playing volleyball one night with some friends and family, just having a good time. The next day, I woke up pretty sore. Didn't think much of it. Just kind of went on. Then the next few days, my left side of my chest and my arm kept getting more and more sore. And then by that weekend, I had had a mass in my chest that was visible enough that you could see it through my dress shirt.
It grew very fast.
Very significantly over the course of about 4 days.
That's incredible. That's crazy.
It was crazy to the point where, like, on Sunday, the Sunday after, I had noticed I couldn't move my arm much past like the vertical plane here,
really,
without extreme pain, and it was nuts. So we had a family friend who was an ER doctor and surgeon. He looked at it. He took one look at it, kind of pressed it tenderly, and he said, "Dude, I don't like that. You need to go get that checked out tomorrow." And so we did, and the results came back same day, which is never good.
No.
And I remember I wasn't quite 19 because my birthday's on September 7th. And I remember sitting on my bed, my dad coming in with the phone with our pediatrician at the time. And he gave us the results. And he's like, "Well, it could be this, Jim," to my dad. He's like, "Well, Jim, it could be this, or could be some kind of blood thing, whatever." I don't know what he said, but he said, "Or it could be cancer." And at the time, I heard the word and I was like, "Oh, shoot." But I didn't feel it,
Because that's not something an 18-year-old gets.
No, right? Healthy. I was a track and cross country runner. I was fit, I never expected anything like that. And so we went in for a biopsy that week. A few days later, the first sample they took was necrotic. They couldn't use it, so they had to go in again the following week. Finally got the good sample. And then September 13th, 3 days after I was supposed to be in the MTC learning, I was instead in Dayton, Primate Children's of Dayton, getting my first chemo treatment and being explained to me, "Hey, you've got a pretty aggressive form of cancer."
So you went through, you just did chemo, right? You didn't do a surgery to remove.
No, because it was very fast acting. I said the first tissue sample they took was already dead. It was already grown way too much to be able to be cut out and growing too quick. So I did chemo. I was able to avoid radiation, thankfully. And I did that for 4 months with a week's worth of treatment. I would stay in the hospital for a week and get different bags of chemo every day. And then I'd go home for 3 weeks to recover.
Just out of my curiosity, because they always asked me this and I didn't quite understand what it was. Because you were in there so often, did you have the port? That's what it is? They put a port in you to just super drip chemo into you? That's crazy.
It's at I don't know if you could see it there.
Oh yeah.
But it's pretty visible. Yeah, I got it put in that after that first chemo treatment I did, which was just an initial. I went in for surgery for it. And you ever had contacts?
No, I've never done contacts.
Okay. But so it looked like the port looked like it was called a double lumen port. And so it looked like
a contact case?
Yeah, it looked like a contact case just under the skin. I was like, whoa.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so every time they would just punch in 2 3/4 inch, 1 inch long needles into it. Oof.
No thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I was very blessed I didn't have to go through any of that.
That's good.
Very happy. You're doing great. I know that you're a fairly fit man now and love hiking in the woods and camping and all sorts of stuff.
Yes, sure.
You talked a little bit, but like, what was your mindset finding out that you had cancer as an 18-year-old?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Did you think to the future, or did you mostly just think like right now?
I'll tell you this specific event that happened during the process. Because at 18, like, and then turning 19, very shortly into it, I didn't have any concept of. I mean, obviously, I understood death. I understood, we're here in mortality, but like, you don't really know. You don't really face it, right, on a daily basis. And so I didn't really feel the impact of it until we had a family friend that came over, and he was an oncologist for the U.S. Air Force. My initial reaction to it was like, well, all right, let's deal with this. Let's Shimon on. Let's keep it pushing, right? And let's deal with it. And I don't know if my parents felt I was having an inappropriate reaction to it, just perhaps not quite understanding the gravity of it. Because I mean, normally, like, having a very positive attitude is very good, yes, but like, I guess they just felt I really wasn't getting it. They had this friend come over, and oh gosh, his name was he was Brother Cutler, super nice guy. And he comes into my bedroom. This was relatively early on, so I still had my hair, but it was just like after the first treatment. And he sat me down, he's like, hey, like, Jesse, like, let's really talk about what you're going through, what that might look like. Not saying that you're gonna like that like a certain result is gonna happen, but you're gonna go through this really hard time. You might die. You might not make it. And I just remember, like, at that moment, like, when he said that, it almost really, oh, thank you. It kind of like really like almost hit me just in that moment of just like, I felt this like impact in my chest. And I really then thought about it. I'm like, oh gosh, like I really might, and I remember breaking down and being like, oh gosh, like, I have so much to live for, like, I'm 19, like, I can't, like, I've got so much I've wanted to do, I've got so much that I feel I can do. And so I broke down that night, and I got really emotional about it. That was at first, of course, and then we kind of just spent another hour just talking about it, just talking about, again, it might not happen, but we can't rule it out, and kind of talking through those emotions of, like, what if this is the end, do you feel like you're ready, for this and that? And are you, but like, what's your mindset going to be? And going on after that night, like, it was honestly, it was cathartic to, like,
It's a very healthy way to process of just lay out the options and say, this is a possibility, but maybe not the reality.
Yeah. Not a for sure,
Hope for the best, expect the worst.
Right. Yeah. Plan and hope for the best, expect the worst. So that was really cathartic. And then after that night, I had a really, really positive attitude throughout the whole exchange, throughout the whole process, just always trying to be happy, I had a good attitude, about, like, when I started losing my hair, me and my friends made a night out of it. We had a little party and shaved my head in all sorts of crazy ways. And then at the hospital, I tried to be positive and active.
You had a wig for your hair?
Yeah, I had a wig.
Perfect.
So, and I was even complimented by the staff at the hospital that they're like, Jesse, like, you've got a great attitude, bro. No, they didn't.
I was hoping they said you look really good bald.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's awesome.
I don't think I did. But that was my attitude throughout a lot of it, is that I tried to really maintain a really happy, really positive attitude, because.
Well, and that's great, because it's so easy to go dark.
Yeah. Oh, it's
so easy just to give up and say, I don't know what's next. I don't know what to do.
And just be like, well,
good on you for having a mindset like that. life after treatment.
Mm-hmm.
How well do you think you bounced back? Like how quick? And
immediately after the treatment, again, I got several compliments from hospital staff that's saying that recovery was really improved by my positive attitude and my mood. Because then by about 6 months after the end of treatment, I was already signing up to go to a Boy Scout camp for a summer job, and I was ready to, to get to work, and get back at it. It did like affect a lot of my future thinking, because once you have cancer, like that really, it just threw a lot of things for a loop. My original plans after high school was I wanted to join the Army, and I wanted to go serve my country. I had a lot of desire and a lot of gumption to do it, and I thought that was going to be my life, go into the Army, go be a soldier do a 20, or 25, however long it felt, do all sorts of things, go see the world, experience some excitement, some adventure. And then obviously that didn't happen, especially immediately afterwards. Obviously the Army didn't take me. I tried 4 times in total. I tried to still enlist with the Army a year or 2 after getting into remission. And then I tried 3 times with the Air Force, twice with active duty and once with the National Guard. And, of course, that didn't work out.
Stamped 4F 4 times.
Yeah, pretty much. But
No.
Is what it is.
I met you a year ago?
No, I'd say
year and a half?
Yeah, I'd say closer to a year and a half, maybe closer to.
So you'd been an electrician at that point for about 9 months or so.
Yeah.
But you jumped in to be an electrician from prison guard,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, correctional officer.
Correctional officer. What made you want to switch from a correctional officer to an electrician?
Cancer kind of threw off my original job aspirations. So I was like, well, shoot, can't go save the world, in the Army. That was a very idealistic view at the point,
But at 18, feels like it.
Yeah, 18, 19,
Sure.
Like go save the world, so I just worked smaller jobs, in Ohio until I moved out here to Utah. And then I ended up joining up with the Utah Department of Corrections in 2019. Did that until 2021, when I met my wife. We got married. And then at that point, I'd already had kind of a real kind of a change of heart at that point of I liked corrections. I did. It's a very hard job, very, very dark kind of atmosphere, You're literally working with convicted criminals every day. And it's a very hard environment to maintain your light, your spirit,
Positivity.
Yeah. And so when I met my wife, and I was really on an upswing of things, I was recovering from a knee surgery to my right knee, tore my ACL. And I was like, you know what? I think I have an opportunity here to kind of make this a jumping point. And so me and my wife had the opportunity to go to Idaho, where she got a corporate job, a very good corporate job. And so I was like, okay, perfect. She can be the breadwinner for a bit while I kind of decide what I want to do, if I want to stay in corrections or law enforcement in general, or if I want to switch it up. When we did that, I started thinking through the different trades and the different job opportunities I could do. I knew I couldn't survive in a corporate environment, like just sitting at a desk dealing with office politics.
It doesn't fit a lot of people.
No. And
I feel that wholeheartedly.
Absolutely. So I knew I couldn't do that. I looked at the trades, and I'd already worked as a carpenter for a time in Ohio, and then for a time in Utah. I worked for a millwork company where I made doors, cabinets, and installed stuff. And I knew I didn't want to do that because I was like, upper ceiling price, unless you get into custom work, like upper ceiling of wages, unless you do custom work, it's not great. And it just didn't thrill me. I didn't want to be a plumber, because you get wet.
Shout out to Chris, our CEO.
Right. And no hate to plumbers, love plumbers, but I didn't want to get wet. I didn't want to get poop on me, whatever. I thought, well, electrical work. Oh, like that's fun. That's a little.
You won't deal with poo, but you'll deal with dying.
Yeah. Hey, I already fought that.
That's fair.
Beat that once, so I'm like, hey,
you're immune.
Yeah, that's right. So I was like, hey, okay, I'll try this out. And up in Idaho, I had the opportunity to work for a maintenance department for a courthouse, and I started there as a janitor. And so I was dealing with poop. No. Then moved over to the maintenance side, and I started working with the in-house electrician there. I kind of got my feet wet with it, as it were. I found out I really liked it, like, okay, like this is fun, this is good. Then like my mind kind of had the idea of another idealistic thought about it. I was like, oh man, I become an electrician. I come to a job site that has no power. It's dark. When I'm gone, you're in the light. I'm like, oh,
it's
that's
fun.
Cool. Yeah.
It's really fun.
And so I decided once then me and my wife moved back to Utah, I'm like, all right, this is what I want to do. I got a letter of recommendation from the maintenance department up there. And then I applied to several places down here. And luckily I was able to get in with Haupt. And, here we are.
Yeah, I've worked with you several times. You kill it. Like, you're the type of apprentice that I'd like to have on any job. So you're doing a great job.
Thank you. That's appreciated.
We need a lot more apprentices like you. So you said you got married in 2021.
So actually, it was the very beginning of 2022. I got married on January 8th of 2022. So,
and in talking to you a bit, I know recently you guys, well, I guess not that recently anymore,
right?
But you guys are expecting here in December, a little over a month. But I know you guys were trying for a while, right?
Yeah.
I feel I hear pretty often the struggles that like a woman goes through trying to get pregnant and failing and trying and failing.
Mm-hmm.
What did that look like for you though? As a husband, as a want to be father, like a desperately wanting to be a father, how does it look like? How did it feel for you not being able to conceive?
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you guys try for?
Me and my wife were trying for a year and a half. Before we finally got pregnant, give or take. Realistically, like I know personal friends that were trying for 8 years.
Right.
And before they conceived, and so I guess like a year and a half is not that long. But me and my wife are older. I'm 30. My wife
practically dead.
yeah, practically dead. Well, then you must think my wife is ancient.
No, I love Brie. She's great.
Yeah, I know she is. But so at the time, like I was 29 and my wife was 33 when we finally, got the news like, oh, we're pregnant, and so it like we're just older, and especially for her, she's getting to the upper scale of where a lot of doctors and kind of society and people are talking about of like, you're kind of really getting to the edge of your fertility window here. A year and a half for us was hard. It was hard to wait, and then especially looking at then, of course, younger couples are going to have an easier time. I've wanted to be a dad since I was young, 15, 14. Like I just knew like, oh man, like I want to be a dad, because I look up to my dad a lot, and my dad wasn't perfect. And I don't think any parent is, but I look up to my mom and dad a lot, and especially my dad, and I was like, oh man, like I want to raise, boys and girls, and I want to raise them as best I can. And so it was hard for Brie, for every month that came by and no dice, she was like, beating herself up because again, she's older, and so she's like, oh man, like I was such a fool, I took so long to get married, and then we took so long to try and get pregnant because we got married in 2022. And then we waited a year or two, which is, I think, sound advice for any newly married couples is to enjoy each other as a married couple for a year or two. But then, every month that went by without us getting pregnant, she was hard for her and for me. Like I felt just as crushed in different ways. I'm not saying it's the same, but like it's for me, like I felt every month I was like, oh man, like another month where we're going to have to keep trying and going to have to keep waiting for our potential kids, and I just like, I love them all so much already, and it's going to be so great, and I just want to go on that new adventure, that new life chapter. And so it was hard every month to like be feeling the pain I was feeling, but then knowing that I had to be, strong and loving and supportive to my wife, cause it was hurting her too. It was hard, and there were some months that once we were 6, 7, 8, 9 months into it of nothing, where I was talking to my friends and I was like, dude, like this sucks. Like, man,
I think we had a conversation once or twice.
I do believe. I was like, oh.
Did you ever have feelings that like it's your fault?
Oh, well, definitely because of the cancer. Because I was like, oh my gosh.
You went through chemo.
Yeah, well, chemo.
They offered chemo to me, and they said that here are the downsides, right? Mm-hmm. Mine was infertility, like loss of hearing.
Oh, really?
Was one, loss of dexterity, and there was another one. And I was like, I'm not willing to do that at 30 and have all that. But yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Right. You went through the chemo.
Mm-hmm. And it was like a specific thing that they said, like, hey, like it's not guaranteed that you're going to be infertile after this, but like we saved samples, we saved some samples in case down the road I did want to, and I wasn't able to conceive with a spouse. The whole time, like every month that passed by, especially getting into it, I was like, oh shoot, like it really could be me. Like it could all be me, and like, oh my gosh, like, and of course, it's not like I was beating myself up in of like, oh, stupid me, like why did I do that? Because what other option did I
Die?
have? Right? Yeah, right. It's just more of that like subtle sadness of like, oh man, like it could be just me and it's just my fault. And even with the samples, like back in Ohio, like that could there's no guarantee how many times that'll work, or if it's just a one and if it takes the first time, like I don't know. So it was hard, like thinking about that too. Of like, oh gosh, like will I be ever able to have children of my own? Like, of course, there's always adoption, and that's not dismissing that at all. But I think we can agree that there's something different about it being yours. Your child being yours from your lineage, and that gosh, yeah, that was hard.
Did you guys end up doing like any IVF or using the samples?
Well, so we were actually, when we conceived, or when we found out that we were actually scheduled to go to a fertility clinic over on the east side of the valley, and to talk to them about that. Be like, hey, like we've got the sample back in Ohio. Like, could we get it out here? Could we like put Brie on some treatments, to increase her numbers and increase my numbers, and try that, and then we got the result. Well, I remember it, the day that she told me we had just come back from a trip to Hawaii, and she sat me down, and it's like 9:00 at night on a Sunday, and she's like, "Hey, like I've got something to show you," and she took a video of it, and it's I won't go like obviously I don't have the video, but like she hands me a bag, and I look into it, and it has pet wrapping paper, and she's like, "I have a gift for you." Okay. So I open the bag, and in the bottom of it, it's a little onesie that says "Dad level unlocked," and I freaked out. Oh,
that's awesome, man.
Oh, so needless to say, we didn't have to do any IVF.
That can get really expensive. Congratulations.
Yes, thank
on
you.
becoming a father.
Yeah.
I hope to meet the little one.
Yes, little baby girl.
Little baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun.
Mm-hmm. You want to know you want to know the name?
Oh, sure. Yeah. What do you got for the name?
So we're gonna name her Heidi.
Heidi.
Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be Heidi's kind of a play on of Brie's. So her name is Brie is French for Heather. Going forward, we wanted to do something similar with baby girl. Wanted to do a German name for Heather, which in German, Heather translates either to Erica, which is the person's name, or Heidekraut, which is a flower. And
Heidi.
Heidi, because Heidekraut's a bit of a mouthful. Anyway.
Yeah.
So
yes. Come here, little Heidekraut.
Yes, Heidekraut. Yes. So
yeah. Just out of my own curiosity, what did you guys do to celebrate? You guys do anything fun and awesome, or just dinner?
Yeah, I think just for the revelation that we were pregnant, I think we just went out to a nice dinner.
That's good.
We didn't go on immediately another trip, you know, but
now you got a baby to save for.
I know, right? But we did go on a baby moon. That's kind of big. We went to and so we went to Ouray, Colorado, just a few weeks ago to celebrate. Last big trip without a kid, and celebrating the coming of baby girl, and so
yeah, heck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's really cool. Maybe a unique, maybe not so unique parenting tactic that you think that you're going to implement into being a parent, and I say think. Because all plans are great until you get into them.
Yeah, all ball.
Everything's out the door once it really goes. But what are you planning to bring into fatherhood and implement?
Me and my wife are both in agreement that we feel like we are going to enact some perhaps old school mentalities. No child abuse or nothing, but spanking's not off the table.
Sure.
You know, like a swats, like a swift spank.
Me and my wife do flicks, a little flick to the head or to the ear or something that
Oh, okay. Yeah.
can't be that bad.
Yeah. And that's not going to be a regular tactic. I mean, that's kind of, it's going to be in the
Reserved.
Yeah, reserved for like extreme cases, you know.
Yeah. One of the things that my dad did is he did a pretty decent job of explaining why we're getting punished and then the punishment.
Oh. And I think that's actually really solid like tool. Right. And I do plan on doing something similar of like when our children mess up, like there are going to be consequences, period. Like you don't get any free pass, you know, you don't get any free pass because you're my eldest daughter or eldest son or, you know, favorite kid or not, you know, whatever. Like if you did something wrong, you did something bad, you're gonna get punished. You're gonna get a consequence because consequences are not always bad. Sometimes consequences are good, you know. So if you make good choices, you get good consequences, et cetera, et cetera. I definitely feel like we're going to really stick to you get consequences, kind of not. I don't want to say like we're going to raise our children to be hyper independent because me and my wife are both very independent people and we think that's a good thing. However, like what I mean is like if mommy and daddy are doing something, like we need our attention focused on this, you're like, sorry, Heidi, like you need to go entertain yourself and you need to leave mommy and daddy alone or whichever parent. And so it's kind of a like, sorry, we are unavailable. Do not bother us. Forcing them to go away, be independent, entertain themselves, not be so latched on to us. And whereas like I mean, I'm not trying to dismiss any parenting styles today necessarily. Me personally, I feel like we are perhaps a little too soft with our children.
Cater to our children a little too much. Sure.
Cater to our children.
I can see that.
And I never want our children, and this is going to sound bad, but I don't mean it to sound bad. Like, I don't want my children to get in the way of my relationship with my wife.
No, understood.
Because like Brie is my wife. I chose her. I love you, my child, you know, Heidi, you know, John, you know, or you know, future sons and future daughters. Like, I love you, child, but this is my wife and I choose her over you. No love lost. Just that's how it's going to be. If mommy and daddy need to go do stuff together, then we're going to go do stuff together. You need to entertain yourself, or we will otherwise organize some sort of caretaking for you to be watched over. I think that's something that we're really going to implement, is that we're going to try and raise our children to be independent in that way, to be able to be left alone and not to be catered to as much and not as coddled. Still loving them, of course, you know, and giving them so much love and affection, you know, but.
Well, and I think like, when you said that, like you and Bria were married for a time before, like a year and a half, 2 years, and me and my wife did the same thing, and waiting and having that time to bond as a husband and wife before the stressors of a child come in, because there's gonna be so many times where you want to have the alone time, but the child makes it so that you can't, in some way or another, and having that relationship to be like, hey, today's going to be hard. We're not going to see a lot of each other. That's okay. So I respect that. So as you guys were trying to have a child, what would you do to cope every time the month came around and you guys weren't pregnant? How would you keep yourself going?
A big thing for me was I'm very religious. And so my faith is a big part of my life, something that kind of comforted me. Through God, all things are possible, you know, and in the Lord's timing, everything comes through the Lord and through the Lord's timing. I kind of had to practice a little bit of stoicism and a little bit of patience and waiting on the Lord, you know, and having faith, you know, just saying, you know what, like this month it didn't happen. And that's really hard. Got to keep focused on the now. Got to focus on, okay, well, then we just got to get through this day. You know, and today was really hard, you know, but let's get to the next day, because there's always a tomorrow. Keep moving forward, keep focused on the now, keep trusting in the Lord. Know that his timing will work and that eventually you'll be able to get through those hard times, be able to do it with him, you know, so it's not just being idle. not just sitting there being like, God fix it. It's like, doing what you can, focusing on what you can and what you can do in the moment.
I see it a lot as, like you said, just like getting to the next day. One of the things, one of my leaders growing up, like when we're hiking, if you're tired, just say, hey, I can make it to that tree.
Mm-hmm.
That tree's not very far. I can make it to that tree.
Mm-hmm.
You get to that tree, you pick another tree.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, hey, I can make it to that tree. And it's not hard to walk the 1/8 of a mile.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I'm there, an 1/8 of a mile is still not that hard.
Mm-hmm.
So I just do it again.
Yeah.
Or I said it, hey, maybe this time I have a little more in me. I can go 1/2 mile. Pushing it to the next day to say, hey, I can make it to the next day. I can go 24 hours. And having a belief in someone that's higher, having a belief in Christ that can pull you through. I respect that a lot. So what about religion helped you push further?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did you ever find that you were tested and maybe didn't think that you had enough?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've been tested a few times throughout my life. I definitely had a lot of blessings come into my life, and then there's also been some times where I feel like I've been smoked, kind of chastised by the Lord, in my own way. And this is a good question because it kind of makes me think about how a lot of times today the world is very nihilistic, very pessimistic, very cynical. Everybody's just like, like we're so downtrodden, we're so oppressed, we're so this and we're so that, like what's the point of trying? I refuse to cope with that, like I refuse to choose that, because I'm like, we're on this planet and there's 8 billion of us now here on this planet, like
something like that.
And we are on such a beautiful planet. Like there has to be something more, there has to be something higher. And so for me, religion has been a really big source of being able to look outside myself and have gratitude for the things around me, for the people around me, for the relationships I have, for the blessing that I have, because I think one of the things that can really bring us down is when we push everything away, when we let the darkness kind of creep in ourselves, think of ourselves as only just one person. In truth, one person against the world, against all the trials of life, it's not a lot. That's hard. That is so hard. Like trying to face anything alone. And I've tried to face things alone, like I've tried to go it alone in certain things, and that's hard.
Well, that brings me to another question. I know recently I've had a little bit of struggle in faith and struggle in just my inner self.
Mm-hmm.
I actually called you.
You did, yeah.
I see you as a very spiritual man. And when you do find that you have struggles, do you have a community and people that you can go to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like I do. I feel like I've got good friends. I feel like I've got good family members, mentors that I can talk to. I call you a friend. I consider you a friend. And I know that when we've hung out, we've had conversations about various topics.
We've had a lot of depression conversations too.
A few sad boy comments.
Yeah.
A few sad boy hours. Yeah. I think, especially, with religion, I think it gives you a community, a faith, a faith structure that you can rely on. And that helps you, gain friends that help you talk out things, talk out hard subjects. And you can get those people that make the world not so dark, make you feel not so alone. That can all help you kind of look at your life, and you could find the gratitude, because I think that's another way that you really can find ways through hard things, is having that gratitude for what you have. I think that helps a lot.
I've seen it time and time again where someone's struggling and then they find a higher belief, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be God or Christ or whatever, but they find something that they believe in that they find a community that helps build them up.
For sure.
I love that aspect. Members of a church can be so grounding and could just help you. I know not too long ago, me and you, we went out shooting, and we all the way driving out together. We had a dark conversation, isn't quite the right word. A deep conversation, I should say.
Because we weren't just like depresso talking the whole time. It was just just heavy topics.
Right, just heavy topics. Yeah. But that was a moment where kind of low, and we were going together, and it was probably a 30, 40-minute drive that we just talked about our struggles. Having someone who's shared like experiences and like lives is very important to just help bring you up and help you out of dark places or even gray places, right? It doesn't have to be dark yet.
Yeah, no.
I'm grateful to have you as a friend and someone who I can share with. And I hope everybody can find someone who they can talk to and they can share with.
Yeah. Everybody needs a friend.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Last question I have. We like to end the podcast with man advice, right?
All right.
What do you have for our community as a bit of man advice? Could be good, could be bad, could be silly.
Could be silly, yeah.
Could be silly, you know?
I've got a few. I think I've got a few good points.
Yeah, let's hear them.
So let's start with a little bit silly. I think having a good sense of humor helps so much. Like being able to laugh and like even laugh at your struggles, laugh at the hard times. I remember I was working on a job up in, Sugar House, right? The Sugar House job we had. Greatly. So you remember that one day that we were taking down the light poles that we were working on?
It was about 14 degrees.
Yeah, it was 14 degrees, heavy snow, rain, sleet. And dude, I remember my boots I had, within 2 hours, they were waterlogged. It was terrible. Dude, like, despite that, like me, and I think it was Ryan and Tanner, me, and Ryan and Tanner and you, like we were all there, and then dude, just like the whole day, like I was just trying to have a good time, trying to laugh, and I find that at any of these jobs that we do that are hard, or if any of these situations that like we encounter in life can be hard, like if you can find the humor in it, like if you can find something to laugh about and you can be joking with your friends, oh man, like that takes the power out of hard times.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And keep extra socks in your truck.
That's right.
Just for that.
Yes.
But yeah,
keep extra socks.
I agree. And if you can find the light in the dark spot. Yeah.
And I think that goes along with my next point is again, like we just said, like everybody needs a friend. Like everybody needs community, I've been really trying to work on that and trying to really, reach outside of myself, reach out to friends, get together with them. Is just reach out, like talk to people, like don't think that you're alone, like talk to people, and if you feel like, oh, well, nobody reaches out, and, you get what you put out, right? Because we've all got stuff that we've got going on, and we're all busy, and so when you are able to reach out and put effort out, I find that a lot of times, especially guys, like friends, like guys want to reciprocate that. We want to get together, we're not, it might not be social hour, with the ladies at, going to cafes or whatever, but like we want to get together, we want to be with each other, reach out, try and help guys around you improve, like help your friends, improve, go work out, go hiking, go camping, go shoot guns together, try and build each other up. Cause again, that's another thing. Like, if you're just focusing on yourself, like that's not going to always, net the same results I feel that you can achieve when you're helping others. Cause when you're helping others, like that builds you up too.
Well, I think you're more accountable too. Right? If I'm going to work by myself, I'm not as accountable as if I'm working next to someone else. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Jesse, for being on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your story. I love to hear how far you've come and the things that you've overcome. It's an impressive story. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you for joining the Ironcast podcast. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things.
Yes.
Help us out. Appreciate it, guys.